been thinking about, and I'm so happy that we talk about this with my guest today, but we need to allow people to be full humans and not mascots. We have this tendency now of looking to people to be the voice for an entire community, as if they're supposed to represent everyone's experiences, struggles, opinions, all of it. And I get it. It's because of the lack of representation. But it's also so much pressure. One person can't carry the weight of we all the time, especially when we're trying to figure out as humans. We're constantly evolving, constantly growing, and we're just trying to figure out ourselves. And then people look to us to represent an entire community. I can't tell you how many times I've been in spaces as a Latina in media and expected to represent all of Latinidad when I am one person who's trying to figure out herself, representing one culture, which is also layered because I'm not from the Dominican Republic, but I'm Dominican American, which is an experience in itself. And I can't tell you how many other people I've heard experience that too. I always hope that people resonate with a part of me, but I don't ever expect for people to resonate with all of me. If any of you agree with me, if any of you have felt this deep to your core, please do let me know. Let us know in the comments if any of this has resonated with you, because I have thought this for a really long time, and I'm really excited that we get into this with my guest today, and I'm so excited for you to see who it is. Let's get right into that conversation. Well, I'm so excited because we have one of my dream guests on the podcast.
Jennifer Lopez. Everybody. No, I'm just kidding.
We have Tefi Pessoa. Thank you for being here.
Everybody clap. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much.
He said the whip.
I love a huepa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for being here.
I'm so excited. I mean, this is my neighborhood. I might as well.
Well, she just found out.
I know. I was like, I don't know where we are. You're like, we're in your neighborhood. I said, that's amazing.
We're right here. Yay. Well, we start off every podcast episode with the starting 5 questions. Okay. Icebreaker questions to get to know you. Are you ready? What's a piece of pop culture that you'll defend like your family?
Princess Diana, and that is my family. Fight me. Fight me. I remember growing up, my tia Alicia, we call her Tisha. Cute. She loved like Hola magazine and Hello magazine. That was like everywhere, all over the house. And she had a framed photo of Princess Diana. Yeah. So I was like, that's my aunt. Mm-hmm. And I remember her being like, we're not related to her. And I was like, what are you talking about? I feel like every immigrant family loves Princess Diana. Yeah. And I am no exception. Actually, the other day, somebody on TikTok somebody made a video about me. Who cares? And somebody was like, I never liked Tefi ever since she defended Prince Charles. And I was like, this I'm responding to. Over my dead body. If somebody said, go see Prince Charles or eat a jean jacket with a spork, I would grab the spork. Period. So anyway, that was my answer.
She came ready.
There are people who don't like Princess Diana, and you guys scare me.
How? When she's the people's princess?
The fact that I don't understand is a good sign.
If you don't like Princess Diana, I need you to let me know why. And then, I don't know, unfollow the podcast.
No, I need you all to get onto an iceberg or like a glacier, and then we cut, and then we push. I see. Yeah.
I stand for that. Mm-hmm. You're in a group chat with your younger self. What's one thing you drop in there today?
Girl, Paris Hilton follows you. Yeah, exactly. I think when that happened, I was like, the little Miami, like 15-year-old girl that was wearing like the Jergens tan, you know, like dark to medium too, crazy. With like the tan mustache, you know, when you tan too much, you get a little mustache. She would be insane. She'd jump on the bed. I'd be like, great, now there's like orange footprints on the bed.
That's iconic. Yeah. To think about like Paris Hilton and then the phone, the pink, the everything.
She would die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What's something you'd never spend money on? Like me, it's expensive shoes. Like
never?
That's me personal. I don't think I would ever.
Sunglasses.
Well, I say heels, not expensive shoes.
Heels, I do. That is all I spend money on. Actually, I think accessories, besides sunglasses, I just know myself. Know thyself. Where's my camera? This one? Yeah. Know thyself. And know you're gonna leave the sunglasses in the Uber. There is no way I'm not gonna do that, you know? Yeah. I leave my phone in an Uber, and that's my whole office.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I'm never gonna spend money on expensive. And you know why I know that? Because I have. And I hope Manuel in East New York enjoys the sunglasses. Motherfucker. Can you curse on this?
Yes, you can.
Motherfucker.
What's a fashion trend you once loved that you now aren't a fan of?
Girl, I was always in a peplum top. I was always business casual.
Wait, I almost bought one the other day and I was like,
They're back.
Doing? What are you doing?
I saw on a website, I don't know if it's like Revolve Algo, that they were like, oh, double polo. I love me a double polo. I love me a peplum top. I loved looking like I was the best receptionist Brickle had ever seen in the club. I loved it. I was like, this is so...
The way that peplum tops had us in a...
And a blazer. I could go from the career fair to the club. Period.
So we were being efficient back then. You know, like
I was being everything I could be.
We were doing day to night. If you had a burner account, what would be your username?
Evie Queen's baby girl 123 or 143. Evie Queen or like something like that. Yeah. I was gonna say. Okay. Or Evie Queen's tanga or something.
If that exists, that is not her.
If somebody takes that, I'm in the lately I've been like every idea I have, I'm like, I should copyright that.
Yeah.
Somebody looks up like what Tefi's been copywriting and they're like, why are they looking up like Evie Queen's tanga, like how idiota.
Well, that's why you have to do like an LLC that's like not your name at all.
Like mine is executive vice president because my name's Estefania Venegas Pessoa. Every time I start dating a white person, I'm like, say it.
Say it 3 times really fast.
Say it. And my ancestors show up in the mirror. Yeah. No, but so mine's EVP. And when I had an Instagram, like my Instagram used to be Estefania Pessoa. And then my brother, who was like 12 at the time, came home and he was like, oh, I'm going to get an Instagram. And I'm like, amazing. Follow me. And he's like, I'm going to make it EVP because that's what all my friends call me because it's Esteban Vanegas Pessoa. And so then when he went to the bathroom, I went on Instagram and I saw that EVP wasn't available, but EVP underscore was. So I got it really fast. And I heard him from his room being like, what the fuck? So there are still people to this day that'll yell out like EVP and it's me and not my brother.
So your parents gave you both the same
my dad's Brazilian, so it's like very Brazilian.
Oh, it is.
So
okay.
It's Estefania Venegas Pessoa, Laura Venegas Pessoa, and Esteban Venegas Pessoa.
Okay. See, I learned something new every day. I did not know that.
Girl, me too.
So I'm really excited to have you on today because we're, both Latinas in media. And something that you had talked about was like, you wrote in a Medium post back in December 2022, I'm bringing out the receipts.
Okay.
That really stuck with me. You said, I am Latina, but I'm also many things. Do you feel like you've had in your life to choose between being a Latina and the other parts of you, like you couldn't be both?
Not until I left Miami.
Okay.
When I left Miami, it was symbiotic. You like that? I've never used that in a sentence before. But it was very much like you're surrounded, I think in that thing that I wrote, can you call it an article? In that stream of consciousness, I wrote like, you don't know you're in a bubble until you leave it. So everybody I knew was first generation, second generation. And everybody I knew was also watching Laguna Beach or like the hills and like the real world and like wanting to be part of like Lindsay Lohan, Hilary Duff. Like we were all absorbing American culture. And I also want to say, growing up, I remember going to Bogota and hearing like 50 Cent on the radio and like Eminem and like Madonna. And when you ask my parents what they listened to growing up, they're not saying like Colombian or Brazilian artists. They're saying Madonna, Fleetwood Mac. Yeah. My mom like got Carole King on vinyl for one of her birthdays. Like we Latin American people also like, I guess today you have Shakira and Karol G and Bad Bunny and Becky G, all the G's. You have all the G's, and back then it was like, if I want to be part of culture and everybody idolized American culture, you weren't seeing this like stark difference. And then when I moved to New York, I think in media, when you're a teenager, you are a Latin girl and you have to, like, you want to look stick thin because that was very much in fashion. And I see that coming back. And I do think if you fight your body, you fight your ancestry too. And like, my grandma used to tell me, like, if you cut yourself off from your food, you cut yourself off from your culture because we don't live there. Food is all we have over here, and community. So I think when I got to New York, I think people would ask me things like, oh, what's it like being Latina? And I'd be like, I don't know, what's it like being white? And then, like, I don't know, Brian. There are more Miguels and Michaels where I come from, you know? And then having people also be like, you must be so proud of your mom. And I'm like, my mom works in wealth management. Like, you know, like, what I don't know. And my dad was like a business owner. I think the people that remind you the most that you have to be both are people that aren't part of the community. Like, no one's faster to tell me that I'm not white than a white person, like a Caucasian, like Anglo-Saxon, like a person like that's fourth generation, fifth generation, maybe like their ancestry is like from Russia or whatever it is. Like, where else are people from? The world, you know? But then also you hear things that are so weird. I remember moving here, and a lot of the like Cuban people that I know are like redheaded, or like I know a lot of Mexican people who are like blonde and blue-eyed. And then people over like where there aren't a lot of Latinos or whatever, like Midtown Manhattan, you know, they have this idea of like what a Latino looks like and what a Latino should be like, or like those qualities, you know? So that was really weird too, because I could see myself trying to appease the people around me, and I'm like, this isn't me, you know?
And they almost expect us to like, I've been in media for over 12 years now, and it's crazy when I'm in rooms that are like ran by people that are not us. They almost expect us to represent all of Latinidad. And they'll like,
I know.
Yeah, and it's like there's 30 plus countries, different languages. There's Portuguese, there's indigenous languages, there's different types of
Creole.
Spanish. Yes. And it's almost like we're expected to represent all of that.
I know, and I'm like, I don't look like everybody. Or like somebody will make a joke out of a Latino's expense. Like, I hate being a Latina, and I can call each other spicy. But if Brian does, I'm flipping this table. I'm knocking all this shit over. You know, like there are certain things that like people will say that are so weird. Like there are so many weird conversations happening around you, but then you're in a professional space, or you want to keep your job, or like all human beings, you want to be liked, so you swallow it, and then but it's so expensive. It costs so much. Like there are sometimes I have daydreams where I go back and I'm like, fuck you. Like I remember one guy was like, I was like, oh, said something about my mom, and he asked, did she go to high school? I'm like, yeah, she got her master's at the new school. Like, what are you talking about? Well, almost. And then she got pregnant with me. But there's this like expectation of being like, of acting like you're in this country as though someone's doing you a favor. That's what I can't stand. I'm like, what are you talking about? Also, Latinos are like, don't we have the greatest percentage of entrepreneurs and small business owners? Yeah, period.
I love that you said that, because I grew up, and I always acknowledge the privilege that I had. Like I grew up in Queens, and my mom worked in Wall Street. My dad was a business owner. Like I went to private school, and it's almost like people are shocked that like I had any like, oh my God, your mom works in Wall Street. It's like,
like, why do you want me to come from like the gutter? Like they want me to come from the mud. Like they want me to be like have the most insane survivalist story for a story to matter. And I'm like, but my family came here so I didn't
have to
suffer at all. Like if I told you I was a bajillionaire and I laid in a hammock all day, and every time I made a fart noise with my armpit, I made $1 million, why wouldn't you be happy for me? And my parents worked so hard. But I think my parents working hard is part of me, but it doesn't like define me. And I think a lot in creative culture. No, I think a lot of in Latino culture too, like my mom told me too, like, she's like, you don't owe me anything. And I'm like, but I feel like I have to do everything to make this sacrifice. She's like, I'm fine. Like my mom's like, I'm fine. And I'm like, I know, I feel like I have to make this like
sob story and
it's not. My mom came over on a plane from Medellin. And yes, she comes from like the country that experienced war. I don't know one country that didn't experience war. Switzerland, que rico. Costa Rica, pura vida. I think that's it, right?
What made you realize all of this? Like, what was that awakening moment for you that you were like, wait, why do you want this from me? Was there a moment?
2 days ago, I was in the car with my mom. I swear to God.
Oh, really? Okay.
2 days ago, because I was like, I told my mom, I'm also the eldest daughter.
Oh, same here.
Like, exactly. So like, I was the first one that they set out into the world to see what American kids were like. You know, I'm like looking behind me. I'm like, am I doing this right? Oh my God, Paris Hilton is really skinny. Like, and then I think my brother and my sister, we all have different relationships with our mom. And I do think my mom does the best job at treating us all the same, but it's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible to. I think I was the one that was like, I was like the yellow canary in the mine. I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know? So I was talking to her and I was telling her like, I have this obsession, a pressure she's never put on me that I can't disappoint her.
Yeah.
And she's never, I have definitely disappointed her, but I've never been like a disappointment.
Yeah.
Where it's like, what am I gonna do with you? We gotta take her to military school. We can't let her out of our sights. I was never like a leash kid at Disney, you know what I mean? But I was like, I have this obsession with like not disappointing you.
Yeah.
And I have to let it go. And she's like, you have to let it go. And she also told me, I used to do everything for you guys, but now you guys are adults and I'm just now learning to do stuff for myself. I literally had to tell myself, like, I have to do things like me getting tattoos. I would get a tattoo and I'm full of them.
Yeah.
I would get a tattoo and I, at 32 years old, would call my mom sobbing, you're going to be so mad. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you know, I don't like it. But then I'm like, what? Girl, like, or my mom is also someone, and many people of her generation, in order for things to be, I used to tell my mom, like, you need things to be like, be beautiful in order to be interesting. And I don't feel that way. We're different people.
Yeah.
But my mom has never been I think I've replaced the mean voice in my head that's like, you have to be good. You have to like, your grandparents, you know, came to this country, your parents came to this country. And I replaced my voice with their voice so I could justify it.
Yeah.
And I think only now, 2 days ago, I was like, I can't, like, even if you read like articles I've done and stuff, I dedicate everything to everyone else. I never say I work really hard. I've never said that. And I do.
Yeah.
I work so hard. I'm so tired.
I love that.
You know, but
it almost feels like, I can't tell you how many people have come on this podcast and they're like, I do it for my parents. I do it for my parents.
I
do it for
don't
my
want to do it for
grandparents."
MJ anymore.
Yeah.
I did it. Actually, I made this really great joke, but she didn't like it. But I did an interview once where I was like, I want to open like playhouses or like play. The reason I didn't get into trouble is because I had after school programs. The zip code that I was in, we rented at the very edge of Coral Gables so that we could get the benefits of that zip code. So I had free after school programs. I would love to provide that for low income communities. And I would love to open like free STD clinics or something like that. And I was like, and I would love to call the STD clinic MJ's Place, like name something after my mom. Yeah. She did not find that funny. And I thought it was hilarious. I was like, why don't you giggle? Let loose.
Giggle a little.
But I like hear Snoop Dogg's voice in my head, which is crazy. Remember that speech that he did? He was like, shout out to me. I'm the one. Yes. And I'm like, thanking myself is also thanking the people that raised me. I could not be this person if the greatest gift my mom ever gave me was letting me see her tired and work really hard. It's the greatest thing she could have ever done for me. Yeah. And like her telling me like, I cannot go on vacation with my friends because you guys come first and I want to make sure that we're okay. Like that was everything to me, you know?
So how do you protect your joy when we talked about this pressure of like being Latina, bringing that out, almost having a sob story. So like, how do you protect your joy now and where you are in life when there's like so much pressure to like.
You have to call out things when you know they're stupid. Like, you know when things are stupid. Like when somebody comments, oh my God, it's my favorite thing that people say to me. I get DMs, like I'm telling you, like 10 DMs a day saying, you're not Latina. You grew up in the United States. And people who live in the United States and leave, this is real. They're like, if you left Colombia, tu mamá ya no es colombiana. And I was like, I dare you to go walk up and down Harlem and tell people they're not Dominican. I dare you. Go up.
Tell us how it goes.
Vete pa Orlando and go tell them, go to Kissimmee and tell them they're not Puerto Rican. And then finally, after you're beaten to a pulp, I want you to go to Calle Ocho. I want you to go to Calle Ocho and go up to Cuban people and say, you're not Cuban. It's just the stupidest. But there are moments, of course, where it does get to you, where you're like, you're not Latin. And I speak more Spanish. I'm not perfect about it. Like I say la agua all the fucking time. Yeah. But my siblings do not speak Spanish. I mean, Laura's a lot better. Laura had a partner that was Venezuelan for a long time. So she even corrects me grammatically. And I'm like, don't you ever in your, she's my little sister.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. But I feel like that's even harder for people that don't speak the language. But there are so many people that tell you all the time what you are, what you are, what you are, what you are, who you are, who you are. And I'm like, I don't know you. And I would never say this to somebody. It's not that we're not Latinas. It's that I'm not whatever you are. And I think you're an asshole. Like, I would never say that to somebody. I would never tell somebody who they are, what they are. And there are also, Latinos are not the only immigrants in the world. Like, when I go to London and you see groups of like African people together, I would never in my life go up to somebody and be like, you're not this or whatever. Or like in Miami, even like Haitian people, I'm not going to tell people. There is no way that people leave everything they know and everybody they love and all the places they're used to, from their careers to their favorite coffee spots, because they're in a silly, goofy mood.
Yep. I worked in Spanish language media, and I can't tell you how many times I was told, starting off in this industry, like, oh, you're not Dominican, you're not Latina, or you can't speak on this. And I'm like, my food?
Watch me, bitch. Sorry, watch me. Watch me,
But also,
sir.
I'm like, the music I listen to, the food I eat, like,
I've never understood. I thought, there's this TikTok, I wish I saved it, but they're like, the cost of community is being tired and annoyed when you're too tired to go to the event, when you have to go socialize and be around people, when you don't want to, when you've had a really long day and you need to show up for your community. Like, that is the cost of it. But I thought we did that so that everybody, like me personally, like I thought we did that so that people who felt like they didn't have community could find it in us. So when I tell people, like, at the end of the day, Spanish is a made up language. Like, it's like, you can argue it's a colonizer's language or something. People got so mad at me, and I'm like, no, I'm saying that don't put so much pressure on yourself to learn Spanish. Like, start today. And if your accent isn't perfect, if it's something that you feel you need to do, just try. And at the end of the day, I said befundled the other day. That's not a fucking word. And I speak English. You know, like, we're always going to mess up. But if you feel called to be part of community, if you're half of something, you know, like, why not open doors to people? And I feel like, I don't know what it's like for other communities, you know? Like, I'm not an African American, I'm not part of other, but I do know what's like to be Latino. I'm like, why do we make it so, why are the specifications so hard when, like, if you met me, you would like me.
Yeah.
Or like, if we had dinner, like, I think you would like me. Like, I think you would want me to be part of this community.
Yeah.
Too bad I am. Wah, wah, wah.
Since you're breaking free of all of this, is there any
Breaking
part
free.
Bring out the High School Musical.
I'm gonna roar. What is it? Dude, yeah, what is it?
Now that's stuck in my head. Since you're breaking free of all of this, is there any part of your culture that now you're reclaiming or falling back in love with?
I don't know my Brazilian side because my dad isn't part of my life, you know? So there are parts of me that I'm like shy about. When people ask me like when I say like, oh, my last name is really, really Brazilian. And when people start talking to me in Portuguese, I'm like, honey, I'll not follow. Like, like, there are parts, and I used to be embarrassed about it, or I felt like I didn't have permission to. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, but who made up that? Why am I making up rules for myself? You know, it's like kind of like when you're like, you make a to-do list and you're like, and at 5 p.m., I'm going to go to the gym. And then at 6 p.m., you're like, I'm such a loser. I'm like, but you made up that rule, Tefi. Like, I'm like, why am I causing all these restrictions? So I'm trying to I'm trying to get to know that side of me without that voice in my head that's creating like limitations. Yeah. You know, it's half of me. Yeah. And I think Brazilian people would like me. Yeah. You know? At the end of the day, I walk into every room as though people already like me. Yeah. You know, or as if people are excited to see me because I'm excited to be friends with them. Yeah. I always say, like, I've never met a girl I didn't want to be friends with. It's afterwards. It's afterwards that I'm like,
that's really good advice for people like are entering new spaces or like, if you're nervous about entering a room or you're really introvert, like.
Well, COVID, it really messed me up. I was always like extroverted. I always was like I would see the nanny and I'd be like, it's like looking in a fucking mirror. Like, I'd be like I was always like that. But then quarantine happened and for like 2 years, I had a real hard time with eye contact. Yeah. Like, I'd be like people would look behind because if I was looking at you, like I'd look like Raven having a vision. I was like look, I couldn't. And so but I wanted to further my career and I wanted to make my family proud of me. So I had to come up with something that would like soothe me. So what I came up with is everybody there already likes you. They have no reason not to like you. And they literally invited you.
Yeah.
This is all a vampire like needs. If a vampire would feel welcome, like you should feel welcome. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, now you've set more expectations for yourself, but not expectations, but almost like your, now I have the Breaking Free song. I'm breaking free, I'm soaring, flying.
I love that. Oh.
So, but what is it that you need of almost your community or your following or even the spaces that are welcoming you in? Because you're so multifaceted, you're like a content creator, but you're also a media personality. You're doing so much. Like, what does support look like for you now that you're in like kind of this new mind state?
I think from the brand perspective, I notice when I'm the only Latin person in a room. I notice. It's like I walk into a room and I look around, and of course you don't know optics, you know? But as I walk around the room, and of course, because I'm Latin, I have to say hi to every fucking buddy.
Yeah.
And then someone's like, nobody wants your man. That's first and foremost. But I realize, okay, I guess maybe they checked it off. I notice, and that's really hard, especially coming from a city like Miami where that was crazy. That was crazy. Like, I'll never forget going into a Forever 21 at Dolphin Mall. And I was like, oh, can I get this in a medium? She's like, ¿qué? And I'm like, mija. Pequeño, mediano. And like, you have to know these things.
Yeah.
And she was like, pero ¿qué quieres? I'm like, mediano. Like, you have to, like, that was, so being in a room where, I love her. Her name was Gladys. I loved her. I remember.
Damn, that's a good memory.
Well, I had to look. I was like, pero Gladys.
Gladys.
And then also from like a community perspective, like people, I know, especially after the quarantine, like, or COVID or whatever, I understand what it's like to be anxious and like have that social anxiety or being more comfortable with being alone. But I really think that showing up and volunteering creates so much joy in your life, like generosity and knowing how the people around you are doing, other people in your community that don't have the opportunities that you do, that don't look like you know what I mean, that come from different places than you. I think it's vital because it's so easy to think you're seeing it on your phone, so it's enough. That is important, to be sharing those resources and to be sharing what's going on in other countries and what's happening in this country. It's horrifying. But I think I wish I could show people how much it would benefit them to be in person, whether it be helping wrapping gifts or like having food or even like something like Habitat for Humanity, going into like, my mom used to drag me to build youth centers in Overtown. And like, I used to complain all the time, and I look back and I'm like, I felt so a part of something. And I feel like Latinos now more than ever, because of the political climate, we should be in each other's faces and like sharing each other's stories. I think you should physically show up. And I know it's scary, pero tómate un trago and go, or like, I don't know, like whatever you need.
Just chill out and go, yeah.
But it is so rewarding. Like anytime I feel there are so much to be like Eeyore about, I get it. But I always come back and I feel so a part of something. And when you remember what you're a part of, it does give you more courage to fight for things, you know?
And are there, looking to like the future, are there any stories that you feel haven't been told that you're
Pero demasiado. I remember I was talking to Eva Longoria and I was telling her like, I really want to see like more like Latin horror. But if I hear La Llorona or Chupacabra one more time, I will shave my head and eat my hair.
Yes.
Like they are so, like I know that Encanto covered a lot of like Colombian lore, but they like really shoved it into one. It was like a good like intro 101, whatever. But there's so much folklore in Latin cultures, and there's so many stories. And especially like being Colombian, I'm like watching, like me and my mom are watching a movie and they're like, your mom just went missing. And I'm like, no. They're like, we think it was cartel. My mom's like, could it be? And they're like, she went to court. I'm like, no, like there's so much, no. They're like, no. Like even watching a movie like Missing, like Stormy Reed is in it. And they're like, and her mom went to Cartagena. And I'm like, no, mom, no, it's happening. there's so many more stories to be told other than the worst things that have ever happened to us. Sometimes even on social media, like we were talking about it earlier, like your survival stories are part of you, but there's so many other stories.
Yes.
You know, like when I think of like folklore, I was talking to Eva Longoria, and we were talking about how I wanted to see a lot more Latin horror, even the idea of being split into two, like being American and Latin, like those two, like maybe doing something with that. But then she also told me I had pitched that so long ago, like kind of how there are series now that each season is a different horror, like, or theme. She was like, I tried to do that with like Latin horror stories too, like folklore. I'm like, that would be so sick.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
like,
what I loved about Netflix's Wednesday.
Yes.
That it was almost like there was like these little hints of her Latinidad, but she didn't need to scream in every room like, I'm Latina.
My perspective is inherently Latin, so I don't need to prove it.
Yes.
The way that I love, the way that I date, the way that I say hello to people, the way that I dance, the way that I do anything is inherently Latin, so I don't have to prove it.
Yes. It's like when somebody, a Latina, goes to France, and I've spoken to creators, right, where they're like, I want to make this for Latinas, and I'm like, you experiencing that is already...
Let her say bonjour. Don't make her say
like,
hola.
You already are Latina, and you're experiencing it through the lens of a Latina. So to me, I'm already like resonating with that content, connecting with it. I don't need you to say like, come to me to France as a Latina, like
Latinas in Paris. No, I understand. I know that you can do
Miami of you.
It comes out sometimes when I'm arguing too, and I'm like, and you really fucking thought that you were gonna talk to me like that?
You know what's funny? Now that I'm in Miami, people make fun of my New York accent, but I don't catch it. And I forgot what I said, talk the other day.
It's talking, it's talking. Now, when I moved to New York, people were like, what are you gonna do with that accent? I said, what are you talking about? Also, I'm going out later, I'm getting a bottle. I remember when I first moved to New York, I went to a bar, and I've never paid for a drink in my entire life. I was like 22 in my entire life. So then I went to the bar and I asked for a Cuba Libre, kill me, rum and Coke. And so then they gave it to me and I walked away, and the guy was like, hey, that'll be $13. And I said, I'm a girl. And he said, and I'm a boy, $13. I was like,
that is such a New York response.
And I'm a boy. But I think, what the fuck was I even saying? Yeah. But I know that there's a way that you can do both. And I know that everything that I do, like if I ever pivot careers, I'm trying so hard, maybe you might see me on a screen, who knows? Yeah, time is going by so fast. I was like, I'll do it in April. And I'm like, what do you mean? What the, But I feel like there is a way to be like, sí, yo soy Latina. And then also not having my whole thing be about it,
Yeah.
Girl, I don't know. Well, I'll let somebody else figure it out. I'll follow you. Sometimes being a leader is like, okay, wait, but like, what would you do?
Yes.
Like, wait. I tell Eva, I'm like, I need you to speak on this, because when you don't, they look to the other Latina online. I'm like, no, wait. Hold up. Eva, wait, give her a second.
Give me a second. Okay, so in a world obsessed with algorithms, hacks, and paying, like now there's coaches for like social media, one-on-ones. What does success even look like to you now? And is that even on social media?
I think that every single person needs to decide what it is for them. It is an individual thing, because sometimes things can feel like never enough. And every person, I don't care what industry you're in, from chefs to producers to engineers, you get to the point where like, when is it going to be enough? And then every time something good happens, or like an accolade, or you're acknowledged somewhere, you're already thinking about how people will feel about it. So you're already like giving it away. And then you're thinking about the next thing you can get. I understand that. Success for me, I think, can you imagine if I owned property as a millennial? Wait, can you even imagine? Like having property, I think I would like, I haven't decided exactly. I know I have things coming out that I'm super proud of it and excited about. Some of it is written, some of it is in publications, some of it is, doing this. I think I have an idea, but what I would like, ideally, is that when I have children, or my godchildren, or my nieces and nephews, when they say our last name, that is something that they're really proud of, and they're like, wait, that's so cool. And I would love to be somebody that's a connector in my community, where it's like, if you want to come out with your own line of shoes, or like you should talk to Tefi, she knows this manufacturer. Like I would like to be a connector for people where I make things easier, where people don't have to go out and like get screwed over and like those trials or tribulations. I'd like to be a resource for people. Yeah.
And if you could whisper something to every Latina creative out there, what would you say to them?
I think you're going to have to start over again and again and again. We might as well be excited about it. Like that's the exciting thing, that this time might work. I think being a creative is like exhausting. Like how many times are you going to try this new idea on TikTok, this new format? How many times are you going to rewrite this screenplay? But I think we have to find the joy in the journey of it. And people are proud of you regardless. You know what I mean? I think that would be it.
And so we start every episode with what's on my mind. But now
what is it? Okay.
I'm gonna flip it to you and ask, what has been on your mind lately? What's been consuming you? It doesn't have to be anything about what we talked about today. It could be a pop culture moment, a random thought.
I have to stop eating the food on the airplane. And I feel like they bring out the food when they know I'm hungry. But you've never seen someone more bloated. I watch Harry Potter when the aunt starts floating away. I said, "Esa soy yo." Like it is insane. It is insane to me how bloated I get. And I know they're putting something in the food to constipate people. Not me though, stay safe. Like, please. My mom was like, I took them every summer para Colombia para vitamina M, vitamina mierda, so like they can line my stomach. So I'm like a tank. You can't take me down. But there's something awry where I'm like, there is no way I should feel like this after having John and Vinny's fucking meatball. I've been eating meatballs my whole fucking life. That's been my obsession.
Maybe it has to do something with the altitude. No?
I don't know what it is, but there is something not right. And so I have to stop now eating on the plane. And I want you to imagine the saddest puppy at a shelter. That's me watching the cart go by. I see.
If you see Tefi eating on a plane,
know that I'm going through something.
Call her out.
That I've let go of.
Be like, hey.
No. Oh yeah. Can you see that little bloated girl, the one that looks like a little dodgeball?
Someone holds up their phone and it's that.
Literal.
That picture.
You know those puppies that get stung by bees? That's like my whole face. Yeah, no, I can't. I've been obsessed with that.
Wait, what about Biscoff cookies?
My heart is goodbye. My heart is goodbye.
I will never reject Biscoff cookies and
I put them in my pocket.
Ginger ale together, the combo.
The best. But combo. I put the Biscoff cookies in my purse and I'm like, I'm not gonna eat them on the plane because I'm gonna look inflamed. I promise you. And then I put the Biscoff cookie in my purse. I walk off the plane. So that's 20 minutes. To the Uber. Yeah. I go, time for my cookie. I'm on the ground. It is dust.
It's dust. It's always these little bits. Why does it break so easily?
No, I can't. I'm not built to win. Nothing will ever work the way I want it to. I'm like, should I put this in like a smoothie? My mom's like, no,
get her cookies to her home.
Patética. Like, I know. Please.
Send her some whole cookies.
That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about I feel like the rest of my life, I'm just going to be like, I'm bloated. I think that's going to be
Aren't we all?
Literally. I'm bloated with the bullshit, truly.
We always reach out to our guests to ask, like, what is on their mind? And so much of this conversation was things that were on your mind that were also on my mind as a fellow Latina media. So I was like, oh my God, thank you.
We're T to T, baby.
Yes, T to T. Yeah. Down to a T times 2.
What? I love that.
Well, thank you so much, Tefi, for being on. We have to have you back, and we're really excited to see all those things that you were talking about.
I hope it happens. If witchcraft is real, let's go.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and thank you for everyone for watching and listening. We did it.
Yeah. Down to a T.